Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're breaking down the sheer scale of the massive overnight assault across Ukraine. We're going to look at the raw numbers, the specific locations hit, and the broader strategic backdrop behind this major military action, just so we can really grasp what exactly unfolded.
Let's start with the most crucial and tragic figure right up front. At least 13 people were confirmed killed in this sweeping overnight attack. Amidst all the talk of geography and military tactics, this number really grounds us. It reminds us of the immediate human impact and the severe reality for civilians. This isn't just some abstract military maneuver. It's a real event with quantifiable, devastating consequences across the country.
So, let's look at the arsenal deployed and analyze the actual weapons used here.
To really get a sense of the sheer volume of this aerial threat, we have to talk about these numbers. We're looking at a stark, heavy bombardment of 73 missiles, paired up with an absolutely overwhelming swarm of 656 drones. BBC teams on the ground literally filmed the city's air defenses going into overdrive, trying to shoot down these targets. Just visualize that for a second. Hundreds of aerial threats moving in all at once. It paints a crystal clear picture of exactly why air raid warnings were sounding across almost the entire country.
Moving on to the toll in the capital, let's discuss Kyiv under fire.
In Kyiv alone, the human toll is standing at 4 dead and at least 51 injured. But pay close attention to the infrastructure impact here. This assault caused major structural damage to civilian areas, specifically hitting at least 2 high-rise apartment blocks and a hospital. As these reports were coming in, rescuers were desperately sifting through the rubble, with authorities fearing even more people could be trapped underneath. It highlights the harsh reality of what happens when an arsenal of that massive size makes contact with a densely populated urban center.
To kind of ground these stark statistics in real human experience, we have this first-hand account from BBC correspondent Vitaly Shevchenko, who was right there in the capital. He described it as a completely sleepless night. He reported hearing more than 12 loud bangs directly in Kyiv, which was immediately followed by that terrifying, unmistakable sound of Russian drones buzzing overhead, mixed with the explosive sounds of Ukrainian air defenses trying to take them out.
Because of this intense barrage, the physical landscape of the city basically shifted underground. Thousands upon thousands of residents had to pack up and seek safety deep below the surface, in metro stations and basements all across the city. Meanwhile, large plumes of smoke were visible rising from the city center. And the threat definitely didn't end with the night. Shevchenko actually reported hearing another strike. 4 recent explosions right in central Kyiv that are believed to be caused by Russian hypersonic missiles, just hours before he gave his update.
Now, let's zoom out to the strikes beyond Kyiv and look at the widespread geography of this attack.
You see, this wasn't just some localized offensive. It stretched way across multiple major regions. We're talking from Kharkiv and Chernihiv in the north, all the way down to Kherson in the south. Over in the east, an industrial facility in Zaporizhia was specifically targeted, which really reveals a systematic effort to apply pressure across the entire nation's infrastructure. When you map out these locations, you start to grasp the truly massive, expansive scale of this objective. But we really need to look closely at the city of Dnipro for a moment, because the situation there was especially devastating. While the initial numbers were kind of fluctuating, the latest correspondent reports confirmed that 7 people were killed in Dnipro, alongside 25 who were injured. And the circumstances around these casualties, they reveal a highly specific and frankly brutal military tactic. Tragically, one of those 7 casualties in Dnipro was actually a rescue worker. They were killed by a tactic known as a repeat attack. You might have heard it called a double tap strike. Basically, this is when a specific location is hit first and then timed exactly for when emergency services arrive to begin rescue operations. A secondary strike hits that exact same spot. It's a highly methodical approach that directly endangers the lives of the very people trying to save others in the immediate aftermath of a bombing.
This brings us to a premeditated campaign, understanding the strategic backdrop. It's important to remember that this massive event did not happen in a vacuum. It was actually entirely expected. Just last week, Russia officially warned it would launch a systematic and relentless campaign of strikes, explicitly focusing on the Ukrainian capital. So this overnight launch of over 700 combined missiles and drones, that was the direct execution of that warning. And in the morning after, right alongside the ongoing rescue operations, the BBC reported that Russia is actively threatening to continue this exact same strategy. Knowing that these threats are ongoing, we're really left with a critical question. As Russia threatens to continue these systematic strikes, how will this relentless campaign test the limits of Ukraine's civilian infrastructure and, honestly, the resilience? The numbers we've looked at today, the drones, the missiles, the displaced civilians, and the tragic loss of life, they aren't just a historical record of one terrible night. They represent a continuing, deliberate strategy. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.